Guys, GM, let's break down today's trades. It's going to be a long one because I took around 3 trades and I'm going to break down each one of them. Each one of them will teach you something or the other. Each one of them will teach you a certain degree of risk management. So make sure you pay attention to all the trades and not just the one where I made money, because it's actually the trades where I did not make money. They were the reasons why I was able to make money, and I'm going to explain how. So first of all, let's break down today's analysis. Very, very simple. So if you see, this was the particular zone that I had marked. Why did I mark this? Because this was a very nice smart money trap right here. So if you look at it, if I delete my zone, if you look at this, let's go back to the 5-minute or the 15-minute time frame. Let's go to the 5-minute time frame. If you go to the 5-minute time frame, you look at this. This looks like a beautiful order block right here for the smart money traders, right? So this was actually a smart money trap right here. So price is of course bearish. Price is going down. But first, price wants to take out the smart money traders. So price normal push down. Price comes up, takes out people here. Asian session, Asian liquidity, then Asia high. Price goes, takes out Asia low, takes out Asia high. This is where the first trade was taken, which was actually a false reaction to this smart money zone. So we entered this particular trade, but we got out at break even. Perfect, no problem. So this was actually a false reaction to this smart money zone. I personally thought that this was the trap. It took out the Asia liquidity. Perfect, but no, this was actually a smart money trap. The real zone was right here. So this was precisely the actual zone, right? This was the actual zone. So first trade, trade number one, price came down, broke structure. So again, whenever you have problems with structure, very, very simple. This just converted to the line chart, and you can see that's a break of structure right there. So we go back to the candles. So break of structure, price came down, price tried testing it, I entered over here. This was my entry, right? And then of course we were holding on to the price went up, this price made a new lower low. So price again broke structure right here, correct? So when price broke structure over here, I immediately trailed my stop loss to break even. So this was potentially my entry, this was my stop loss, and of course my target was big. But the moment price went lower, the moment price made a new lower low, this I trailed my stop loss to break even, and price went up and of course stopped me out. Then what happened? Then price went up and did this. So now what is very, very important, and you need to understand this, the number one thing for you to re-enter a particular setup is when the setup is still particularly valid. So in this scenario, the price took me out at break even, no doubt, but the setup was still valid. So I'm going to delete the smart money zone now. The setup is still valid, right? So now price has done what? Price has taken out these highs and now it's making the structure. So break of structure again, at the retest I can always enter, right? And that's precisely what I did. So let me just check. So my second entry was actually a bit late. Let me find the precise level. So the right entry would be over here, because this is where the structure broke, right? This would be the correct entry. So over here, this entry with this particular stop loss would be absolutely perfect, right? But what happened? Price started going lower. So when I saw that price missed my entry and it started going lower, I entered somewhere around here with a stop loss of this. So this is something again that this requires experience. You can do that when price momentum is very high. You can definitely do that, but again, you can be wrong. So your stop loss has to be very, very tight. So I entered somewhere over here. My stop loss was already over here. And the moment price broke structure over here, the moment price made a new lower low, my stop loss was again at break even. Then what happened? Price came back. And price stopped me out again. So I was stopped out twice at break even. Now just imagine if I was not able to manage my risk, if I did not trail my stop loss to break even, I would already be down by 2 to 4% on the day. But because of my risk management, I was able to sustain at break even. I was able to sustain and look for more opportunities, right? So now these are two trades that I have already got stopped out at break even. Now we'll go on to Euro USD. Now Euro USD is pretty much similar, right? It made the same setup, took out Asia liquidity, went up high, and now it was making another high, but I did not want to enter over here. I could have entered over here, but I did not want to enter over here because now it was pre-New York session. And we all know what happens in pre-New York session. There's highly likely there's a manipulation, right? So see, if I would have entered over here, it would have again taken me out. The price started going lower. Now again, the most important thing here, again I'm repeating it, is the narrative, the bias, and the setup. As long as that is valid and you see a valid entry, you should re-enter that particular setup. Just because you got stopped out at break even doesn't mean you say, oh, as part of the game, I'll look for a good setup again. No, if the setup is still valid, you should be re-entering that. And this is what another mistake that most people do. So if I would have, let's say on my first trade itself, I would have got stopped out at break even and I would say, oh, you know what, leave it, forget it. I wouldn't have taken the second trade. Second trade also, if I would have got stopped out at break even, again, I wouldn't have taken the third trade. I would be like, you know what? Oh my God, 2 trades back to back break even. I guess I'll trade tomorrow. No, the bias is still valid. The setup is still valid. I can literally see that the price is doing what I am expecting the price to do. The price made a smart money, took out the smart money traders, made a trap, started going down. And that told me that my analysis is pretty much correct. Now we take out the simple support and resistance levels. Simple support, right? If you mark this zone like this from here, simple support, right, now turned into resistance. Price comes up, takes out, then there's a break of structure right here. So there's a break of structure again. So the valid entry, so there's this particular structure where my entry should have been, right? I entered over here and price went straight into my TP. Now, one more very, very important thing. The moment price made this new lower low, I trailed my stop loss to break even. And the price almost stopped me out. I thought, you know what, this is my fucking third trade where I'm going to be stopped out at break even. But no, price bounced back from there and went straight into my take profit. And this was the third attempt after being stopped out at break even twice. I did not give up. I was continuously looking for my setup. Now, please don't get this wrong. If your setup is invalidated, don't re-enter. There's a very big difference in revenge trading and there's a very big difference in what I did today. What I did today was only because my setup was valid and I could see the market moving in my direction. So, simple support and resistance traders, right? Support broke, now resistance, people will place their orders, people will get excited, people will go short. But what the market will do, market went up, took out these people, actual supply level, price started going down. Again, how did you identify this particular supply level? Because this is the level which created a new lower low. That means there's sellers over here, right? So that was my entry block. Let me delete this as well. This was the real supply level right here. Price precisely respected that, came down, retested, entry, stop loss above this particular wick. Actually, I wanted to keep my stop loss over here, but just for the sake of it, I was not very confident in keeping it over here. If I would have kept it over here, it would have been a 1:9 trade, but I kept it over here. Still captured 1:4, $5,000, no doubt, no, not bad at all. And that's what it was. So again, guys, what is the point over here? The point here is you need to keep studying the market, keep analyzing the market. The market, if your setup is correct, if your analysis is correct, the market is going to give you another opportunity. Wait for a valid setup, take that trade, manage your risk, and most importantly, defend your money, defend your capital. If I did not defend my capital, if I did not trade my stop loss to break even, I would have not been able to take the third trade, because I would be down by 2%, 4%, doesn't matter, or depending on whatever I would have risked, right? So on this account, I was risking 2%. So I would have been down by 4%. Now, as per the rules, if you do 2 stop losses in a day, you should not take a third trade, right? So I would not be able to take this trade if I did not defend my position. I defended both my positions, and that's why I was able to sustain for a third trade. I took the third trade, followed my rules, and hit my take profit. So that's the number one lesson I want you to take from it. Otherwise, I hope this makes sense, and I hope this helps. See you later.